Hello YouTube, it's your best friend Bethany. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Definitely feel free to subscribe down below, join the Beth Friend fam. My goal is to hit 200 subscribers before the end of the year, but today's gonna be another day of Vlogmas. I'm just gonna take you through my day, and I also wanted to talk about my journey from being able to only run 1 mile September of 2019 to now on my birthday, December 13th, I'm gonna be running my second half marathon. It was gonna be my first half marathon, but I accidentally hit it early in November, and it was such an amazing feeling. I did tear up. I cried a little bit because it was something in my mind that I was reaching for and aiming to get, and it didn't feel real until I hit 10 miles that I actually might be able to do it. And I realized I'd been putting so many restrictions on myself and telling myself like the kind of person I was, telling myself I wasn't a runner, and I don't think I actually thought I was gonna hit my goal until I hit 10 miles. And when I accidentally hit it early, hit my half marathon early, I called my mom. I was super excited. It's just really great because this year has taught me that most of the things that I don't think I can do that I want for myself, I can, or at least I can make steps to get closer to them. And the only thing that was stopping me was the fear of not being good enough and this own critical opinion that I have of myself, and that I am the biggest hurdle in my life. I'm the one who makes it the hardest. As I've told myself that I can do the things that I want for myself, things have gotten easier. I've found the paths or the steps that I've needed to get closer to achieving my goals, and it's just such an amazing feeling to tell yourself that you can. All right, I just finished my workout down at the gym, and I did around 6 miles on the treadmill, and I burnt a little bit over 800 calories. The way I do this isn't the fastest, but it feels good for me. It's kind of like a stress relief, so I had time to do that today. I worked a little bit this morning, then I went down there and I was there for like an hour and a half getting that 6 miles in. What I do is I switch between a high elevation and a high speed for power walking, and switching off and combining them for certain miles. But it's a nice stress relief for me, and I also get to catch up on watching some YouTube videos that I want. And since it is Vlogmas, there's a lot of people's channels and videos that I don't get to watch throughout the day during the work week, so it's nice when I'm exercising to catch up on them. I just did that, and it's currently 2:25. So I wore my Old Navy green tank top. I'm wearing just this cheap sports bra that I got from like Ross or something. Doesn't really have a brand on it. And then these are some Fabletics camo leggings, and I was wearing my Saucony shoes, my go-tos for any kind of like cardio, even if it's like just power walking. Those are my favorite. It keeps my feet comfortable, and I just don't have any pain in my feet, which is good. But I'm gonna shower, and then today I'm really just gonna be working on client work, working on some videos. And then I was thinking, since this weekend I am going to be running my half marathon for my birthday, I'm turning 25 on Sunday, I am going to film a little story about my half marathon journey, how I went from only being able to run 1 mile in September 2019 to running 13.1, which I accidentally hit it a little early, but I'm just gonna talk about how I got there. So yeah. about my journey from being able to only run 1 mile September of 2019 to now on my birthday, December 13th, I'm gonna be running my second half marathon. So a cool thing about running is you can really see your progress and you can track it. I first started running without anything, and that was when I couldn't run a mile, but luckily before I started really making any strides in my distances, I started using an app. I was using Map My Run by Under Armour, and then I started using Nike Run Club. Both of them are great options. I will say I like Nike Run Club a little bit better because it has its own little community. It has amazing guided runs. I actually listen to a guided run every time I run long distance now. And of course with the guided runs, it does turn off every now and then. It has people talking every now and then, kind of encouraging you, or you can listen to ones that are about enjoying the environment around you. You can listen to ones that are about a certain distance. You can listen to ones that are encouraging you to do long runs, short runs. And I've been listening to the half marathon one. Even when I was running below it, as soon as I hit 10K, I started listening to the half marathon one so that I could, you know, start working up. And it's kind of nice to know, kind of hear this encouragement and know as they're telling you that, oh, you're 75% of the way and all of that, that even if you didn't hit it this time, that you're getting closer and closer, that you've heard more on that guided run. I highly suggest it. And so since my first run, let's see when my first run was. My first run on here was December 2019. I think I have a few more on the Under Armour Map My Run, but we'll just go from this. So December, so that's giving you a whole reference of a year of my growth of running. In December, I had one run on here, and it was 1.94 miles. I had only been able to run a mile when I first started, and that was actually some stops in between, and that was in September of 2019. So this is a few months away, and this was 1.94, so a whole mile more, or 0.94 miles more. The 10:37 pace, and it looks like I briefly stopped at the top of a hill. But it's really cool that this is where I was a year ago, and I just, a month ago completed my first half marathon, which is 13.1 miles, if you didn't know. Oh, let me turn the brightness down so you can see that. Sorry, you can also see the reflection of my ring light, but you can see 1.94, 10:37 average mile. And you can see right at the beginning, I did stop, and I know, because I know this run, it was where I used to live in December of last year, and there was a hill right here, and I don't like hills. I'm still working on hills, but I have gotten better at being able to jog up them and not stop. You'll also notice that my runs were few and far between. So after I'm done showing you guys kind of like my growth throughout the last year, I did want to go through some tips that I have, some things that I found for myself. And of course, I'm not an expert on running or training for running, but I just wanted to share some things that I've noticed for myself. Hopefully it can be helpful for you. And maybe even if it's not, it has you thinking about something that helps you figure something out for yourself personally as a runner. And then in March, I had one that was 3.68 miles, one that was 7.18, one that was 2, and another one that was 2. I want to go to the 7.18 first. And the thing is, when I click on it, I do see that that was a walk. Something I also train myself is if I'm not going to go for a run, to try to go for a longer walk. So this was actually a walk. So it looks like my farthest distance in March was actually only 3.68 miles, 10-minute and 16-second pace. And then it looks like pretty much from there on, and then from then on, I really was only doing 2 to 4 miles. So that's not too much growth, but I will say during the beginning of quarantine, even though I had more time to do this, it took me a little bit to get into this. I was kind of moping, and it was a little bit disheartening. I think a lot of people have talked about this online, how we can't sit here and tell people that they should be more productive during a time when say they just have more time to do certain things. It's a very emotional time. It's a stressful time. People are being thrown out of their routines. Loved ones are in dangerous situations. So it did take me some time to get back into this, and for me to actually discover that running was something I know now is a huge stress relief for me. It brings me such happiness, and it's crazy because it's taken 25 years of my life to figure this out, and I know this is something I'm gonna be doing for the rest of my life. Okay, so it looks like before I moved to Kansas City in July, I moved the last week of July, that the farthest run I had was also in July before I moved. And that was 5.61 miles with a 10-minute and 49-second pace. And so that was a big deal for me. I remember when I hit 5 miles, I was like, it just felt so good. That was a struggle for me. And I would really say that for me, there were certain points that were hard. Like being able to run 1 mile without stopping was something that took a little bit of time. And then getting to be able to run 3 miles without stopping took a little bit of time. And then to be able to run 5 miles without stopping took a little bit of time. There were specific mile markers that were hard for me to get to. And I think you'll find that personally with yourself. Like you'll know ones that were little milestones for you, and then for a while it's hard to get past them, or ones that are hard to hit. But I will say after 5 miles, it took me a little bit to hit 6 miles. And then when I hit 6 miles, that's when I just really started growing in my running. I feel like 6 miles is when my lungs got used to long distance running. And I'm not saying that's for everyone, but I feel like there will be a time when your body just starts to really enjoy it. It was far enough in my run that I just felt a lot of joy when I was running. And now once I hit 2 miles during a run, I'm not struggling as much. I like feel happy. I'm listening to my music. I'm looking at the surroundings and not struggling to breathe. I feel like my lungs have really grown through this, and things have stopped becoming so hard, and it's more of a mental game now instead of a physical game. As I'm looking, looks like I started to try to do the guided run called Another 10K Run. That's on the Nike Run app. And I started off definitely walking it looks like, or running and then making myself walk back. And I do have this trail that I like to use. It's only a small part of my half marathon because it was too small now to be a big part of it, but I do run it twice in my half marathon. It's 5 miles as a loop from where I start, and then I go to a certain end of the path and then come back. So I do have that twice in my half marathon. But as I'm doing this, it looks like I was doing a lot of walk running until August 27th. Even though it's not a very good pace, I did 6 miles in 15 seconds. Even though it's not a very good pace, I did 6 miles in 15 seconds. What? 6.15 miles with 11-minute, 29-second pace. August was also when I decided that my half marathon, I was gonna run it on my birthday. It was a goal kind of like, oh, I wanna hit a half marathon, but then I put a date on it. And that also made it a lot easier for me to set up a schedule. My goal was to grow and improve by half a mile each week. And I did that, and I hit it earlier than I even thought I was going to. For my birthday, for my 25th birthday, I thought it was such a great idea to like just bring in the new year of my life with something that means a lot to me now. And since I'm nerdy, I made a t-shirt for it. I'll show you guys. But I just made a cheap t-shirt. I put it in a large so that I could wear it over a jacket since it's pretty cold outside. It's supposed to be in the 30s. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer than it thinks it's gonna be. But either way, I'll just bundle up and do it. Honestly, I run better in the cold than in the hot. So it says 2020 25th birthday quarter life crisis half marathon. It's a mouthful, but I thought it would be fun for me as just a reminder of just the growth I've had this year, and just a cool shirt to show this run that means a lot to me, even though it's not an organized run. So now that I'm done rambling, I'll tell you guys some tips that I've kind of picked up. Tip number 1 is gonna be pre-workout. So you can try this yourself and see what you think. But I found that pre-workout, a lot of people use it for lifting, but I found for low intensity cardio, which is, jogging, long distance running, not sprinting, because I think the caffeine of sprinting would make me feel nauseous. But I found for low intensity cardio, for running long distance, that having pre-workout before running just really gets me over that hump of when you're starting to run and it feels uncomfortable and you're like, why am I doing this? And your body's like, what is happening? It gets me through that and your body takes over. Your body's warmed and it knows what it's doing, and it just makes the run so much easier when you don't have to struggle so much in the beginning. Definitely seen more people talk about pre-workout for lifting, but it has been a huge help, I think, for my long distance running journey. I haven't tried running without pre-workout. I guess that's something to try too. Just the way it gets me all boosted with energy and excited makes it so much easier to start the run when sometimes it's hard to just start it because you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And then you just are already in it and you start to enjoy it. And by the time it's like worn off in your run, you're already feeling warmed up, you're feeling good, and it doesn't matter anymore. My next tip would be, sorry, I'm like swinging this around, it's a little tripod. My next tip would be to figure out when you feel the best running. I had a friend in Santa Barbara and she felt best running in the evening, afternoon, like no earlier than 5 p.m. That is not the same for me. I'm the kind of person where if I'm gonna do an intense exercise, I need to do it in the morning or at least not past 1 p.m. I found running in the morning is my time. So whatever your time is, just try to make sure that you carve out some time during your day. And even if you don't do it every day, if you carve out that time so that if you want to, you can, and you just are like keeping open your 6:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. schedule or whatever it is, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. If you keep that open for yourself, it makes it so much easier to get yourself to run. Personally, I wake up at 6:30. I start my run sometime between 6:45 and 7:45 so I can just get out there, and it's really helpful too during the pandemic because there's less people. I don't have to worry about running into people. There's less times I have to pull up my mask to run by people. Also, it's just crisp air. It's not as hot. Of course, it's winter, so that's less of a concern, but I definitely am a morning runner, and just figuring that out for yourself, or maybe your body doesn't care what time, but I'd say a lot of people definitely have a preferred time. So carving out the time to make sure that you can run during that time makes it so much easier and so much more enjoyable, and it helps build the habit in a positive way instead of something that you're dreading. Another tip I have, this is something I've been doing since I was only running a mile, is that you run out a certain amount of distance and you make yourself walk back. So I started doing this until I hit around 6 miles, and then I just, would try to loop it so that I'd come back to my place. But while you're still learning to build up your lungs and build up your endurance, I would say an important thing is just overall physical fitness. And for me, when I was only running a mile, I would run, maybe have to walk a little bit and get to my 1 mile mark, and then I would make myself power walk back or just walk back, and then you work up to power walking back. And in this way, you are always growing in how much of a workout you're getting and just building up your stamina. And so for me, as I was hitting 1 mile and I was able to finally hit it without stopping to walk, I then, instead of just starting to run back my route, I increased my overall distance. So I would now try to run, and I'd hit my 1 mile mark and I was like, yes. And then I'd try to be like, okay, let's get a little bit more. So I would try to run to 1.5. And even if I only hit 1.2 and then I walked back, I was running 1.2 miles and walking another 1.2 miles back. My next tip is about shoes. I would say that once you hit 6 miles, you need to invest in shoes. I started to just rip through my shoes, and the $50 pairs of shoes I got, which I thought was, a little bit expensive because I like to get cheap style shoes, whatever. Like, I like to get Forever 21 shoes, H&M shoes, Ross shoes. But when it comes to running, it's a little bit different than walking around. It's different than getting shoes to wear out. This is a very intense thing for your feet. Not only do you want your feet to be comfortable so that you can run longer, you want shoes that are gonna last, because in general already, the shoes I've worn, I've run more miles in them than the ones I had to replace before them. They have no signs of wear just because they are a higher grade of shoe. Another tip is a random one for cold weather. Sorry, these are all just random. I'm sitting here, I didn't make a list. I just thought I'd talk with you guys. But for cold weather, I have found the most helpful and the thing that's made me most comfortable during super cold weather is having my ears covered. Whether you pull your headband down so that your ears are warm, or I've gotten some cheap Amazon over the ear like headbands that, you know, dip down and cover the ear. And I have a little ponytail hole, even though I usually have my ponytail above it anyway. Covering your ears makes it so much easier to feel warm when you're running in the cold. Going off of that, a little cold weather tip is long socks. For some reason, long socks, when you have them going up a little bit over your leggings, I'm a legging runner. Maybe this doesn't apply to everyone, but I run in leggings. It's what I feel most comfortable in. And having socks go over them, it kind of traps the heat in there so that you don't have your ankles exposed or just even a part between your sock and ankle that just releases heat. They're going through a lot and your body starts to feel numb when you exercise a lot. And so having your feet go numb can be dangerous when you're running. I'm already a clumsy person and those feet need to be there. Those feet need to stop me from falling. Okay, this is a listening tip. And I don't mean listen to me. I mean what you're listening to. For me, I was listening to a playlist that I made for myself called Run, you know, very original. And it does, you know, it is still something I work out to, and sometimes I run to after a while. What I found is a really good way to start my runs is to listen to podcasts. Podcasts take me out of my own mind and stop me from thinking like, oh no, like I'm sweaty, oh I'm a little tired, all the things that go through your mind, especially at the beginning of a run. So having a podcast, even if it isn't going to be long enough to cover your whole run, and then listening to music after, having a podcast to start your run will make it so that it's a lot easier for you to get into your run and not be so concerned about how hard you're breathing, about, oh no, how long has it been since I've run? Oh no, I'm already feeling tired and it's only a little bit into the run. So those are just some quick tips. I wanted to throw these in here because I'm super excited that I'm gonna run my half marathon for my birthday. I am gonna do a little birthday vlog too. I plan to run, eat a lot of food, and then come home and watch the Girls Gotta Eat podcast, the live edition of it. But I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching. If you do have more questions or comments about any of the things I've talked about or just anything in general, leave them in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it and definitely subscribe.